Oh, I know, I was elected to the school board.
Okay, I'm going to bring the meeting to order, and I'm looking for an approval for the motion to approve the bill.
I'll move we pay the bills.
I'll second it.
What's this one?
All in favor?
What's going on?
Pay the bill. All opposed?
Oh, pay the bills, yeah.
What's going on? Oh, can't hear it.
Lisa Beer is here.
Yes, that would be me.
Okay. You want to get yours out of the way, you can leave.
I won't take up much time. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Lisa Beers from my insurance agency, and with the help of John and Deb Sickler, they gave me the current information on your health, dental, and vision plan. And with the information that I have and the research I've done, I can save the town in excess of $10,000. At this time, I think because we're not comparing apples to apples, but the benefits are as good or better, that I'd like to request a meeting outside of the board meeting to discuss it further
Okay.
prior to the next board meeting, if I could.
Fine.
Should I set that up with John?
That sounds good.
John?
Thank you by email.
John and Deb set it up, and I,
Perfect.
okay?
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I have two public hearings. The first one is on the 2% cap. And Pete, why don't you tell them why we decided to override the cap?
We went to a class, some of us, and put on by the comptroller's office. And the first thing they said to us was, we didn't make this law, we're just trying to understand it and enforce it. And they said, because we don't know all the ifs and ands of it, and we think it would be very easy during the year to go over that 2% cap, we suggest that all the towns pass a local law that says we need to go over the 2% cap. That way, even though we try to keep it under the 2% cap, and our budget is under the 2% cap now, if something happens during the year, so we don't have a lot of problems, we don't have to have special records and special accounts, all that kinds of thing. So just for our own, to keep us from having a lot of problems, we did that. We made the law, a local law, to override the 2% cap, even though we didn't, just to kind of protect ourselves.
One more thing I'd like to add, I voted against that because I felt that the state is trying to keep the towns under the 2% regardless, and I understand the concern to try and give yourself leeway, but I'd rather see an extra effort to keep it under 2% regardless of what happens over the year. And I guess now,
Question?
questions?
Question? I think you all know who I am, regardless of what my sweatshirt says. I'm not Eddie Bauer. My question is, there was an election recently, and I would respectfully request that the board members table this till the new board is seated, so we can look into it. I see a lot of heads. Who do I address, sir? You or the gentleman that...
Well, you can address me. This is due the 20th of this month.
It's due.
Yeah,
What's it, an annual thing?
yes.
Okay.
And the comptroller's office makes us have it in by the 20th of November, and they call me every day.
Saying what? Get the bill in?
Well, with things that they want included and stuff in there.
Okay, so they're saying, are you going to opt in or opt out? The controller's office is asking you this?
Are you talking about the budget or the 2%
No,
cap?
2% cap. The budget's got to be in, yeah.
Yeah, but
obviously.
the controller's office that I talk to doesn't have any, they just want our budget.
No, all right. My question is on the 2% cap. I'll say it again. I would respectfully request, because you're going to have a new board seated,
But you
for us
can't,
to look, why not?
because I have to have the budget in this 20th.
And it's tied into the 2% cap?
Yes.
So are you anticipating going over the 2% cap?
No, we're not.
Okay.
When Pete went to that school, they said to override it. The controller, he went to the school and the bookkeeper went to the school.
Because they ask a lot, you can ask a lot of questions and they don't know the answers. So we just have to give it some time for everything to work out. And they suggested that we do this to protect ourselves and save a lot of headaches. We are trying to stay under the 2% cap. I mean, that's our goal, but because
Okay.
we were advised of this,
All right.
we're doing it this way.
I'll take your word for it. Secondly, now, you have to forgive me, I'm not up to this yet, but does the local law that you're gonna propose, does that have to be posted so the public can read it in advance?
We did that.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry, I must have missed it. Where was it?
I don't know, we did that.
Oh, okay. You posted the local law saying this is what we're gonna deal with. In regards to the 2% cap.
Well, you guys were passing out a paper that said that, flipping from a paper.
Well, you also said you weren't gonna raise taxes. If you wanna relive the election again, we can, you know, my dog's bigger than your
The
dog.
bottom line with this is we're not going over the 2% cap, number one, but to save us legal problems with any kind of thing, the state recommended, and Pete recommended, that we go over the.
My only question is, do you have to post this law so the public can read it? You said you did post it.
Oh, we posted that there's a public hearing here.
No, but do you have to have the law, or a copy of the law that you're gonna propose? Excuse me, Counselor,
Legal notice then.
you have to put that out that they're gonna, what the law's gonna read?
Once the resolution's passed, I have to draft it, and,
That's like Nancy Pelosi saying, when you vote on it, you'll find out what's in it.
I just take orders, chief.
Okay, apparently it hasn't been posted. Thank you.
I haven't been asked to draft
Oh,
the
no,
order
that's
yet.
fine, sir. I just,
If it's drafted, I don't know about it.
okay.
But there's a lot that goes on that I don't know about.
Not the mushroom syndrome. Not the mushroom syndrome.
I have not drafted the local law yet.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, sir.
Hi, in your legal notice, in the October 27th legal notice, it said that the local law, the new law that's being drafted would be available before tonight's meeting with the town clerk and after tonight's meeting with the town clerk. That law is not there for us to
It's not
see.
drafted yet.
I know, but in your legal notice, you said it would be available to the public to read, and it's not available.
Why don't you feel like I'm in an Abbott Costello movie?
Can I ask a question here? Is this basically, we want to adopt an oops clause?
What?
An oops clause? We went over the 2%, so...
The state suggested that we pass this law.
Look at the state. Look
The
at the state.
That's who we answer to.
I understand that. I work for the state. I understand that, but
Tom, can I say something? Do you mind if I say something? In the infancy of this 2% cap, in the meeting I had with Jessica from DiNapoli's office a few months or weeks ago, about a month ago, my question to her was, and I posed it as, what do we do for local municipalities who are suffering from flood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And she said, well, and I said, with this 2% cap, we all know that we could, as a village of Sidney, because that's who I was there for, we could run over this 2% cap. Now, the local law, that's where this local law thing comes from. And I understand what they're trying to do here. But in the infancy of this thing, nobody has the answers. And DiNapoli's office was handed this law and said, okay, now you have to go out and educate the communities, the towns, the villages, whoever, the counties, and you have to get them to understand this.
exactly my point.
So-
Exactly my point. Nobody has the answers, but yet we want to make a provision so that we can exceed this, but nobody has the answers.
Right, but
And we're all looking at a state, that is billions of dollars in debt. Billions of dollars in debt.
We're not exceeding. They just told us that this would give us.
Prove it to me.
less major
Prove it to me.
Look at the budget last year, we didn't increase it one
We
penny.
reduced it.
And that's our goal this year.
That's our goal.
That's our objective.
That's our goal. I've seen a lot of
Chip
goals
Wicks
that
and
people
Well,
say.
we're
Look at the
Right.
numbers from last year.
tonight.
I mean, it's public record.
And the law is only good for 1 year. The state has mandated you make this 2% cap override. It is only good for 1 year. If you have to redo it each year.
Why can't we postpone it?
Because it's attached to your budget, that, we're still trying to understand the
Why
state.
can't you leave it at 20%? I mean, 2%?
That's the state mandate, and remember my understanding of reading some of this, from reading a lot of this stuff, if you go over that 2% cap, my understanding, anything over that 2% goes into a reserved fund, which is a restricted fund. And I'm not sure how there, if you get to where you might need that reserve fund, I'm not sure how
What the
they're,
restrictions are.
We're not sure, we
We're
don't
not
know.
sure yet.
Why are we voting on?
How do you pass something, how do you pass something for 4% if you don't know what's involved in it? How do you pass that? It's a simple answer, you don't pass it.
What are you talking about?
The 4% increase.
2% increase.
We've just heard it from everybody here, we don't know, we're not sure.
Right.
We don't know, we're not sure means we don't vote on it because we don't know.
No, we're
You leave it as it is,
Can I go one thing? Again, I'm not opposed to it.
They're gonna vote on
Maybe
it.
Pete can answer.
regardless of what.
Regardless of what
One
it
of the
is.
things that I heard was an issue, for example, say the town has a loan at 2.5%, above the 2%, is different criteria in the clause of the law that maybe lets you go up to that 2.5% because you already have a loan at the higher interest, right? And there's a lot of formulas, different formulas that allow parts of the budget to go over the 2%. And everything wasn't that clear, so what the comptroller was suggesting, again, I'm not for it, was that the town protect itself to allow those things to occur until the law is completely finalized or enacted or deciphered.
Didn't we just find 1.4 million in a sock drawer someplace?
Correct.
And can't we use that as a
Yes,
buffer?
I would think so.
Exactly.
No, you can't, because this is
The
only
town
on,
clerk.
this is only on the tax levy. It has nothing to
This
do with
is
the
about
money
the
you already
charter
have.
of our town. This is about charter.
What?
May I ask a question about the charter?
What charter?
Point of order. May I ask a question about the charter of this town?
Don't ask me.
Does the charter require that a law must be drafted before it is voted upon?
Yes.
Then you would be in violation of the charter if you vote on something that is not drafted, and in violation of the public notice. And you create a liability for this town under state law if you do that.
Yeah, public notice is invalid if you don't have the law.
I asked that question, I got a hung with it.
You create a liability for this town.
Hey, Joe.
Joe. It's the law of the state.
Their own notice says it was going to be available. Their notice that they came to when the paper says that it was going to be available. So how can it be available if they didn't get it?
I think the whole point, that's what that is. We're on the 2% cap anyway, so what's the hell is the point going through this?
Whatever you like.
Well, what else are you gonna do? Huh?
Follow the law. The deal was probably after you get through 1 year, and they'll have all the details worked out. The law is kind of ambiguous, so they don't know what to tell you exactly how to do, so they suggested we do this just to protect ourselves. You've got to understand that we are trying very hard to keep it under the 2%. Our budget, our new budget for 2012 is under 2%, but it's very close because it's very hard not to raise it a little bit every year. Everything gets more expensive every year. Everything goes up. So you have to understand that. We are also taxpayers too. We don't want it to go up. So
This is
you
a
kind of
process
have to,
issue.
we are your representatives, you have to trust us a little bit. That
Any other comments about that though? And then,
Yeah, you guys keep saying that we're gonna stay under the 2%.
Well,
So
we're gonna
let's
be
vote
doing that right
on
after this.
staying under the
Let's
2%.
do that, I agree. And let's just make a motion that we keep it under the 2% for
Fine.
this year. I mean, is that,
Works
that's
for
the
me.
safest way to go. That's
I
everybody's
second.
objective here. I mean, I don't think anybody's in
Huh?
disagreement there.
I can't second that. You have to second that.
I'm agreeable to a motion like that, I would love that.
Captain, all in favor? All opposed? Passed.
You want to close the public hearing unless anybody has more comments about that particular issue, which sounds like it's going down.
What?
We can close the
So
public
the
hearing.
2% cap will not be exceeded.
Right.
Well done.
Now we have another public hearing on the budget. So it's, do you want to do that, Debbie?
Well, looking at the budget, and Nancy had done up a preliminary cover sheet However, when I was reviewing it this morning, she had left off Sidney Center Fire District, but they're still under the 2% cap. So, reviewing the numbers that Nancy had done, the 2012 tax levy is $1,314,796, and this is under the 2% cap of 2011. I do have extra copies here. I did not write Sidney Center on here, but there are copies of the budget here if you all want to look at them. I made a few copies.
Could,
Okay, now the
Mr.
trap,
Wallen, could you pass that back maybe? Thank you.
Pardon?
You're all extra copies.
Oh, I'm sorry, can I have one? Oh, two. I guess my board. Now, there is a budget in here for the hospital, but taxes are not raised for the hospital. That's separate and apart. So the hospital is not included in the budget amount.
I got a question. We're talking about tax levies and everything. I got a good question. What is being done to increase the tax base in this town? What is being done to create more jobs for this area?
that's not our job.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Our job is to do this. What we're trying to do is keep Amphenol in Sidney, and we're trying very hard to do that.
But beyond that, there are, take the building behind McDonald's.
Excuse me?
Take the building behind McDonald's. What's being done to revitalize that, bring industry back into Sidney?
That's in the village.
The village?
And the village has hired someone for economic development.
Okay, and anything being done?
She's doing stuff every day.
What?
Yeah.
He's trying,
I moved here 3 years ago,
you what?
and I've seen more houses in the past 3 years go up for sale in this town. People are leaving. That's reducing your tax base. That's what's causing problems with, okay, now we've got to increase levies, we've got to increase caps. Anybody here should be asking a question, what are we going to do for this town? What are we going to do to revitalize this town?
Well, the first thing we're trying to do is to keep Amphenol in this town. That's 1,200 jobs.
That's in the village.
For the
It's
whole
also in
community
the town.
itself.
Well, in the village, in the town, how many jobs are going to put back in here? Out of what I heard was like 700 jobs lost. You know, that's a dramatic decrease in the tax base. And that affects the town and the village.
Jobs are created by private enterprise, and private enterprise has to want to come to your area.
They got to have an incentive to come to this. That's the whole thing back in the 70s and 80s, downstate with IBM. They were given an incentive to say, okay, let's open up more. Let's bring in our support companies into the area so we can have them locally.
Who do you think should pay for that?
Well, if we offer incentives to companies to come here,
Why would a company want to come here?
One of the things we did was give a franchise for natural gas pipeline to the town in the hopes to draw additional industry to the town.
okay, I think a lesson needs to be learned from the 70s and 80s. God, even if you could take it to your state cohorts and say, enough, let's do what we need to do for the people of New York, the people of Sidney, the people of Delaware County. Not just say, it's not my job, because it's everybody's job.
We can kind of roll this back to the whole thing of the tax levy. Taxes are too high.
We're all in agreement there.
We're probably the lowest one that you're going to get.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying overall. I understand what you're saying, but taxes in the state are too high.
You're preaching to the
Goes
choir.
to the county, goes to the village.
And the state forces a lot of that.
I understand that.
Can I just ask, what happened to the water bottling plant that was supposed to open up a few years ago?
That's another village issue, I don't know.
It never happened, did it? It never happened? Now, don't we have like the best water? Isn't it Sidney that wins the state every year? Can we do something with that and get some sort of a, as a
We're
town?
trying to discuss the budget here.
Maybe we could put that in for a possibility.
You want us to add money to entice people to come here, but keep the taxes lower? Is that the deal?
I'm saying offer companies tax credit to entice them to come to the area. Not give them money, but a tax credit to a business to employ our people.
That's what you have the industrial development agencies and organizations like that, that's their main focus. Ours is to keep
The
taxes
village
in check.
and I and the county are spending a great deal of effort trying to keep Amphenol here.
How are you doing?
And losing a company like that and getting another company with 1,200 jobs like that is not going to happen here.
How close are we? Are we pretty close to keeping them?
I hope so.
What is hope so? Give us some.
Well, until they tell us that they're staying here.
Is it I or the town board that's trying to keep them here? Is it
It's the town
I
board.
or the town board?
It's everybody.
Because everybody is working on that as a whole across the community, and
Well, the person
I
that
would
did the
say it's
most,
not-
the person that did the most work is Glenn Nellis from the county.
right, he was just here a couple days ago, but I'm just saying, it's not I, it's the town board, I would hope, that is
Whatever.
doing, well, no, it's not whatever.
Really, don't give us the whatever. You are the representative of this town.
We shouldn't have
You
to
are the
read it off the
supervisor.
paper.
Please, give us something.
What do you mean, give us something?
Give us whatever. You know, don't give us that. Come on.
Well, we are
I expect some professionalism. That's all.
in the wrong place. We are making every effort that we can to keep them in this town.
That's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Some professionalism. We're looking for something
And
to give us some hope.
You know, the guy, I just had both knees replaced. Just before that happened.
You know what? I cut my thumb off too.
Wait a second. Just before that happened, Rick Aiken called me up at 6:30 in the morning, and Nate wasn't sure he could get there because of the flooding, and I had my wife take me down in a wheelchair, and they got going in one day in there.
Thank you. You know what? I cut my thumb off too, and I went to work the next day. Really? There it is.
This is getting silly.
Yeah, it is.
Now, to go on with this, the big problem that all towns have with their budget is with the highway department, between unions and costs of stuff and stuff. And Jamie and I had a discussion, spent some time together the other day, and Jamie has got a tentative budget out to 2016, so we could plan, because a lot of towns and a lot of governments altogether are gonna wind up in the trap that if they keep their taxes low this year, that when they can't go over 2% next year, they're gonna have major problems, and we're trying to plan ahead so we don't have that problem. And the other thing is that this 2% cap is not on the budget, it's on the tax levy, which are two different things. You can take money out of reserve fund and stuff, it doesn't count. And Jamie is working on, like this, we went every year. You'd get 1 year, he asked for a truck, and then the next year he asked for 2 trucks. We're figuring out, Jamie has figured out what equipment he needs and when he needs to replace it, and we have to do this and have a fund in there to save money when he needs something expensive. So that it's not, it doesn't hit the tax levy, it's on money that he's already, all companies do that. Equipment funds and stuff like that.
Can we get some information on the management of the hospital and the budget as related to the hospital?
Well, the hospital budget is just changed because Amphenol's in there.
Is the revenues projected here from that?
Oh, yes. And it's going to be more than it's projected. And I was told by Tri-Town that they weren't going to take any more space this year, and probably next year. And Amphenol no sooner got in there and they wanted another wing. So I just had a meeting with the CEO, Dan Ayers there, and Aiken. I said, you know, let's work this out, and they worked it out among themselves. And the hospital already put in the certificate of need quite a while ago, and they want the wing across from Marine Kapoor.
So that you would consider that an area of economic development that you're working on?
I guess.
Does Amphenol have a long-term lease with you? Does Amphenol have a long-term lease with you?
We're discussing it right now.
But they don't right now,
They have it.
but they
I
don't.
drafted a lease.
But they haven't signed it
Hasn't been
yet.
signed. Or negotiated. I drafted it, proposed it to them, to Bob. Haven't heard anything for or con yet.
We appreciate this level of detail.
We don't want to see the lease.
No, just to have more information.
Along that line, they are working with us. They've allowed me to bill them a lot of the stuff, expenses that we have incurred with them moving in, fixing toilets, utilities, etc. I recently billed them for $2,691, which they did pay us for. So they are covering a lot of the expenses that are being incurred, and I think part of the contract will also be reimbursement of some of the utility costs, as well as the lease agreement, the rent.
Joe, is the lease that you drafted a triple net, so that they are paying all of their own expenses and their share of the real estate tax?
It's up that way.
It's a
Yes.
triple net?
It's the same type of lease we had with them back in the prior flood.
That was the fun.
Well, you want to continue on this budget stuff?
I don't know, do you have any questions, or what do you want to do?
No more questions?
But, Deb,
Public hearing, no more questions?
You said that Sidney said our fire district wasn't on here. What is it?
she didn't add in, for 2011, it was 21,260, and for 2012 it's 72,709. So you don't see it on the 2011 or the 2012, so, but it's still under the 2% cap. And we made sure, Sidney said our fire district.
Yeah, what was the figures again?
2011 was 71,260. Initially, they had 72,460. Then they less revenue of 1,200. So theirs was 71,260 for 2011. For 2012, it's 72,709, less their 1,200 for the 73,909. And that has to be added into both 2011, 2012 tax levy. But they stayed under, they are mandated to stay also under the 2% cap.
May I ask about this expenditure for serial bonds, principal and interest, so the debt that is outstanding with the town?
That's when they went bankrupt with the hospital.
And how long out do we have on that debt?
2016, and it's approximately $335,000 a year between the payment and the interest.
And that will continue for that whole period
Till
of time?
2016. Huh? No. And we do have money, and you can't pay it early. That's the bond they signed. And with the interest rates what they are today, you're not going to get anybody to let you pay early.
But what is the interest rate on the bond?
When they first started, it was 5.5. Last year and this year, it was 5. Now it's 3.5 or 3.25, I think. And we owe $1,545,000 yet. And on top of that, when you have the money, you can't make any money if you're in the government. You can't. The most we could make is 0.5%.
We tried to shop our money around with different banks at one time and found out that wasn't allowed.
I apologize, I didn't get a copy of the budget proposal or whatever, so I'm just kind of winging from rumors that are floating around. You're telling me that no departments or anything are getting increases?
Right.
Nobody's getting a raise?
You still have to negotiate with the union, but our position is we're not giving them any.
Okay, nobody, no employee of the town of Sidney is getting a raise? You told me that last year too, and it wasn't correct, but that's fine,
Who got a raise last year?
that's fine.
Well, obviously, you know somebody that got a raise, other than the union.
Yes, I do, but that's last year, and it's old. I just wanted to confirm that nobody is getting a raise this year.
Nope.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I thought the bookkeeper was getting an increase of 5,000.
I can't hear you.
I thought the bookkeeper was getting an increase of 5,000 this year.
The bookkeepers are not on salary,
How do they get paid?
contractual.
I am not getting a raise. I make $2,000 a month. And I'm not getting raised, that's what I made last year, that's what I made this year. No matter how many hours I put in, it is $2,000 a month. And I certainly would not expect a raise if nobody else was getting one. I do this primarily for my health insurance.
So that's $24,000 a year.
I cannot make more than $30,000 under municipality if I went outside of this
Okay,
municipality.
I understand that, because I'm a retired employee too. So $24,000 a year, and you're working 2 days a week?
No, some days I'm working 5 days a week.
Some days you're working 5 days a week.
12 hours a day.
Yes.
The only reason I'm asking this is I got grilled on this last year when I was told I only had a certain number of court days, and we figured it down to the hourly and everything else. And I don't begrudge you for making money.
And I'm not, Steve. I'm doing this only to pay my Cobra. My Cobra's over $1,400 a month.
I don't begrudge that.
So, you know,
I would like everybody that deserves an increase to get an increase.
I do
So,
too.
more
I
power
do
to
too.
you.
But, you know, with the state and their mandates, I
understand.
agree. You know, I made the proposal for your group. I did a spreadsheet, but it was decided that nobody would get an increase other than what was contractual through negotiations.
That's why I asked the question. Just so it was.
I know in the paper it was saying that the bookkeeper was making $30,000.
Just so
I
it
do
was
not make
confirmed that nobody
$30,000.
is getting an increase. And the other problem I got is for the second year in a row, being a department head, I would expect the respect for somebody or a committee to say, hey, listen, could you come in and talk to us about your budget request? But for 2 years in a row, I don't even get the respect of a phone call or an email. But I don't expect it anymore, so. But thank you for that answer.
When's the last time anyone got a raise in your department?
3 years. It's been 3 years since we've had, and I have actually decreased my budget.
You got a raise just as I got in because you claimed that the administration before us had voted on it.
I didn't get a raise. I can tell you when I got a raise. It's been 3 years. The last Madalone's last year, we didn't get one because everybody was crying poverty, and the whole town department said, okay, we'll take a hit here. And then that was the last time anybody asked me to come in and defend my budget. You know, it's like it's already decided, which we know it is. So that's why I don't expect anything.
I get $7,700 and I work 40 to 50 hours
I
a
don't
week.
care what you get.
Well, I don't care what you get.
Obviously, you don't care what I get. Or somebody would ask me.
I don't get a lot of research, Steve, and you're like the second or third highest paid guy in the county, so
Excuse me?
I don't think so.
No, the county
Do you have, you know what,
delegates.
ask her to send you a copy of it, and you can see.
I have it, and I had it last
We
year.
looked at it as well.
I had it last year when John asked me to get it, and I had it in here, and I wasn't even given the respect to give it. I got it from all the judges directly, okay? I'm number 1 and number 2 in the county, and I am not number 3 getting paid in the county. all right? I'm one judge compared to 2 judges in most townships.
Well, you're also getting paid by the village.
What does that have to do with
What?
that? This is not appropriate.
How many hours do I work?
A month.
It changes. It changes. Well,
Average.
I work as much or more than your bookkeeper does, and she's getting paid $24,000.
I can personally vouch that's a very busy court. You call on at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you have trials, you have to make decisions that affect people's lives. That's a very busy court. And I think the court clerk should be recognized for what they do over there. It's a constant battle. Been there, done that.
May I have one last question, I'm sorry. What is the size of the reserves?
In which fund?
I don't know, are there multiple reserves?
There's
I see that there's a transfer from reserves line, and I wonder how much the reserves that...
The reserves are a lot in some departments. And what the deal is that Jamie's thing is Highway A and Highway B. Highway A is out of town, the whole town, and Highway B is just outside of town. And it's the same thing with the general. And it's the state sets this up. Jamie's salary isn't in with the highway department, Jamie's salary is in with the general. And the state set it up like that, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I just wondered if our reserves, you thought were in good order.
Oh, they're in great order. We have a lot of money.
So we need a 2%
Because
Your point was so well taken that we're not gonna have any.
Oh, all right, all right. I'm going.
That's the reason for public hearings, or they, you know.
Oh, future reference, Counselor, can we get that notice out before so there's no big brouhaha?
Judge, I have nothing at
I
all to
understand that, sir.
do with public notices.
Okay,
It's
thank
above.
you. Thank you very much.
If I was asked to do it, I would.
Okay, I'm sure
If I was asked to draft the law ahead of time, I would.
I'm sure you will, sir. Thank you.
You are responsible for compliance with the law.
No, I have to do what I'm told. So if somebody tells me from the town board to draft a law, I do it. If somebody tells me to put in a public notice, I do it. If nobody tells me to do it, then I don't do it.
Would we be able to
And if
see
the
that?
notice says there will be the law, signature should be...
I don't have it.
No, when
Excuse
you
me.
draft it, would it be available at the town clerk's office?
Sure.
That's what
Once it was passed, definitely. And I would assume, even before, yes.
Okay, don't.
But I wasn't asked to draft it, so it never happened.
Right. That's right.
Can I ask just a quick question? Your annual audit, who's the town's auditor?
I don't believe that we don't have to have, we had an auditor until this year because of that FEMA money, but I don't think we.
It used to be called Frank Scott, I think is the last one.
But we just were audited by the state.
And they gave an opinion on the size of your reserves?
They think we're doing very well.
Okay, and the state audit is available?
The state audit will be available very shortly, and it's gonna come through on a report I get, and I'll just give you the email address.
Okay,
You should be able to get it online from the state also.
okay, great, thank you.
But it hasn't been published yet because I look at that report every day.
Okay.
We don't have that yet.
But we will be able to have access to it
Yes.
once it is
Yeah.
finalized. Thank you.
I have a question. Who's taking minutes here?
This lady?
She's not
By
paid
law,
employee.
by law, the town clerk takes minutes.
No, that's not so.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Why not?
So,
Well, the
tomorrow I'll send you the.
Fine.
I'll send you the. Who's appointed her to take the minutes?
Well, I've asked her to take minutes.
Well, but who's
Doing
gonna-
it for
Is there a reason for that?
Oh, Tom Christie?
You have that, do you think you have that power?
I do believe that.
What's the law? What's the-
I don't know that. I was told that I was allowed.
Do you know
to
any
have
town
them.
law?
By who? Anything else?
Why isn't the town clerk taking the minutes?
Actually, if we're done with the budget, let's close that portion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to close these.
Second.
There's no more questions on the budget.
On the budget.
Okay.
Is
and
she
then
getting
Is she getting paid out of the budget?
Is she getting
When we
paid
take
out of the
minutes?
budget, was the reason I asked.
No,
You're paying her personally?
no.
So
Well,
she's
who's
doing
paying
it
She's
for
doing it
free?
out of goodwill.
Excuse me?
She's doing it for
Yes.
nothing.
Why isn't the town clerk taking the minutes?
Maybe she is. I don't know. It looks like she is.
We've had, the last 2 weeks, we have business that concerns the town clerk.
Okay. She's an elected official. She doesn't work for you. She works for the people of the town of Sidney.
And that's her.
It's
that's her
not your decision to
responsibility
make.
spelled out in town law. Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay, good.
I don't even believe that the town clerk has to even attend this meeting.
She does. She's digging a hole.
Mr. Reddy, as the town
She's an
attorney,
elected official.
do you represent the supervisor or do you represent the town of Sidney people?
Which do you represent?
I serve at the will of the supervisor. I'm appointed by the supervisor.
Okay, so you don't represent the best interest of the town, you represent the best interest of the supervisor?
Personally, I wouldn't do anything that I felt was.
I understand that.
No,
I did.
who would you represent?
I do what I'm asked to by the supervisor.
I understand that. As a town attorney, is it your, do you represent the interests of the town of Sidney or the supervisor's interests?
I like to think that I represent the interests of the town of Sidney.
Okay, but you're saying, a few minutes ago, you're saying you're just doing what you're told.
I'm appointed by the supervisor.
I understand
And I can
that.
be fired by the supervisor at any time. If
Right.
he doesn't like what I'm doing, so.
Okay. So I guess my question is, town attorney job description.
I don't know that there is one.
Okay, okay.
Well, we're gonna find
Okay.
out. Why we need one. Are there any more questions on the budget?
Can we look at this in the town clerk's office, because there weren't enough copies to give us all one? The town budget.
Okay, if you just give her your email address, she'll email it to you.
Great, thank you, I'll do that.
But it should be a matter of public record at the town clerk's office.
It will be a matter of public record at the town clerk's office after it is passed.
Yes.
This is all tentative, and it was tentative until right now.
It has to be submitted to the county by the 20th. So we will add in that Sidney Center District 2 and send it to Lisa.
Any budget questions, additional ones? Thank you all very much. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the town budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You wanted to make an announcement about roads that were closed. What do we have to do? You have to post something?
Yes, public notice has to be posted in the paper about our seasonal roads. I have 3 seasonal roads that have to be closed, and we will put in the paper that the closing is
Okay.
has to be.
Do you have anything else while you're...
Sure. I got a couple things here. FEMA has come to Sidney. I met with FEMA here at the boardroom. They took a list of our damaged sites for Tropical Storm Lee, and they're doing the hurricane all in the same time. So I gave them the damages for that too. We're going to set up a time here soon to go out and look at the sites, and we'll be going there. We should get that done and we'll look pretty soon. On Gifford Road, we had a bump that kept on coming up, it was getting higher and higher, and we went down and found that it was an old tube that was buried, so we dug that out and got that straightened out. We stolen oil, approximately 3 miles of roads this fall. We had a problem with one of them on Donchy Hill. 2 days later, I went back and there was no oil. I mean, it had rained, but probably 2/10 of a mile, there's no oil. There's a stone, but the oil's gone. I brought the salesman from the oil company up and he looked things over, and he's going to take care of some spraying. He said next time he's done, he could give us the oil that we lost. Apparently, the rain must have got underneath a bad section of oil. He said he's seen it before, so he's going to take care of some spraying stuff like that. But we've been doing some blacktopping with our grader. We did some on the edges of the road on Wheat Hill. We changed a couple of tubes, so we had to go over the tubes that we changed and blacktop them over. We've got all our winter equipment on. We have to put our plow frames on. We have snow tires on the trucks, and that's all ready to go. We had a problem with one of them when we were working on the battery box. Battery is put in wrong, and the negative terminal was touched to the positive terminal, and we blew 3 batteries up, shorted out some circuits in the truck. Happened to be our newest truck. But we got it fixed. There's a couple of the two-way radio was shorted out, and we had to get a new radio for it.
Well, and you put in some additional parking at the hospital, but.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And tell them about the FEMA village, deal.
Oh, yes. We were down here helping the village pick up flood debris, and we were asked to set up a bill for our time and our equipment to send the bill to the village. The village can turn the bill in for FEMA so we can get reimbursed for our overtime and our equipment rates. We're not sure about regular time, so we did it for our regular time, but we can take it out. So we're going to be billing the village for overtime, regular time, and equipment use.
Well, tell them how much money it is.
$33,402.
Now, the village gets, what, 75% of that back from FEMA?
Yes, from FEMA, and the other 25% is divided up between state and us. There's 12% the state will pay, and then we have to take care of the other 12%.
From the town or the village?
From the town.
Town, okay.
Yes.
So that's going to be, do you want to make a resolution right now that we pay that?
It's already done.
Huh?
Well, they're asking if we will waive our 12.5%.
Right.
And that's what I think you need to vote on, is donate that 12.5%. They're asking if we'll donate that 12.5%. That is our side of it.
So 25% of the bill would become, or
12.5, we would just not include in here.
in the bill.
Right.
Doesn't the whole bill have to go to FEMA for FEMA to pay it?
We're not sure yet. The village is looking into whether the regular time should be sent with it or not. They're talking with the FEMA reps now, and I talked with the FEMA reps.
So that's a next meeting thing?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Until we find out for sure which way it's going to go.
Do you have anything, Debbie?
I need a resolution due to the incident in Lisa's office. I did a quorum before I transferred money. I transferred money out of the A account to one of Lisa's accounts to cover an expense to DEC, and I just need that resolution in the minutes for that. I did the transfer. I waited till I had at least 3 members say go for it, and I did that on Friday, transferred that money so that we could pay DEC.
What she's talking about, there was $2,680 missing from whether it was stolen or whatever.
A burglary.
Whatever, the police report isn't.
It's a burglary.
It's still in, okay, that's what they said on the thing originally.
On the police report.
But anyway, the insurance company has refused to pay anything but $200. So we have to transfer town money into that account to pay those bills.
Why did the insurance company refuse to deny the claim?
You want to, who's got
Yeah.
that? Do you have that,
I want
Debbie?
to
You got it?
what account
You wanna
is
see it?
coming out of?
No, just in 200 words or less, what?
It's not in 200 words or less.
They only pay up to $200
Town
on losses of cash.
Contractual.
Okay, so this is no reflection,
Right.
this is
Not
no
a
reflection
reflection of
on
the
the
events.
validity of the case.
Absolutely not.
Thank you very much.
And incidentally, when Deb just said she transferred money, the money that was transferred out of A1410.4, which is my town clerk contractual money, which was in the budget, so it's just money that was taken out of this town clerk contractual account.
I have a question for Jamie.
Sure.
I've been hearing reports of a couple towns around the area spreading frack water, brine water, on the roads for de-icing and dust control during the summer.
I haven't heard that.
Is this town involved in anything like that?
No. I haven't heard anything like that.
Yep. They're doing it in Chenango County.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I'll give you the name of the company.
Yeah, I have all the paperwork on it.
Also, I feel that in regards to the situation with the $2,000 stolen from the clerk's office, I think it projects a bad image to say it was stolen or whatever. That leaves
Nobody
it,
knows what happened.
Including you.
No.
so right now it's being handled
Nobody knows what happened.
as a larceny, so I would say there was a larceny.
Well,
Until it's
but
proven
nobody knows
otherwise.
exactly what happened.
Until it's proven otherwise.
Right.
That there was not a larceny, so saying it was a larceny or a burglary.
But we have to transfer taxpayer money in there.
I understand that, sir, but not whatever. Not whatever.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I also did a bid for replacement of what we call the penthouse / laboratory roof. And we only received one bid on that. It was from Neubauer Construction. There is asbestos in that area, so we asked that the bid price include the asbestos removal. The bid price came in at $16,875, and I said it was only one bid came in.
Was that in the Tri-Town paper?
Yes, it was.
I didn't see it.
Just want to get that done because they
Yes.
did it between.
Right, it's over the lab, we got it.
Right.
And I've already done the roof to the place where they want to move. We're back.
I make the motion, please. Second bid.
All in favor? All opposed? Passed.
We had the DEC come in, they inspected our underground tanks. They both had, between the two walls, there was water in there. So Nate has removed the water, and he has marked some of the stuff that they recommended, and we have taken pictures. So when we address the violation, those pictures go with it. That's what we've done in the past. So I'm just letting you know that there was moisture between the two walls, and that will be addressed.
Is Neubauer licensed for asbestos removal?
He has somebody come in to do that, who is, I don't know.
Have they been here before for asbestos removal?
She doesn't know who it is, how can
I
she
don't
know if
know.
she's been here before?
Each contractor was to get a licensed person to remove the asbestos. I don't know who he deals with, but he is a company he has used in the past, is what he has said. But he didn't put that on my bid sheet.
Who pays for that?
We will through the bid.
I think what she's asking is that the asbestos abatement person
It's
subcontract.
it's subcontracted through Neubauer. Neubauer puts in a bid that it's inclusive of him redoing the roof and that people that does the asbestos, and he will pay them, and then we cover that. And it's a prevailing wage because we're municipal.
And it's not paid for by tax levy, it's paid for by funds from the hospital.
Correct. We pay Delaware County contract for their DEC services, the lady that comes in. And I received a letter from Delaware County Planning Department pertaining to when we did the public hearing on the New York State DEC water supply permit for the New York City Land Acquisition Program. The letter, you can do this either way, and I don't care how you want to do this. Either we pay direct the DEC the $17.50 and then bill the watershed, or we bill the watershed, they pay us. We could do it however you want, but they said I can also include in there any other fees that we've had, which I did have. I got from Lisa the public hearing notice that we paid $20.40. So I thought if I just go ahead and pay Delaware County the $17.50 and then bill the watershed the rest of it, we should be clean. You know, it's just money in, money out.
$17.50.
$1,750 plus the public notice of $20.40. I think that's all I have.
You want to take a pic for me? Where is he? You're up.
We were just looking for, we didn't get an agenda, so hopefully we're on there.
My computer's broke.
Okay, thank you. We were just looking for an update on the cemetery initiative, whatever you could share with us would be great.
Yeah, again, I sent the discovery demands to the other attorney who represents the other party. He has not complied with answering the discovery demands, so about 20 days ago I sent him a letter telling him I give him 30 days to answer the discovery demands. I have to do that before I bring a motion to compel him to answer the demands. So if he doesn't answer them in basically 10 days, I have to bring a motion to compel him to answer the discovery demands or strike his answer. It will be up to the judge and grant us a default judgment. I know that's a lot of legalese, but
Is this part of a judicial proceeding? Is that already in the court?
yes, it's already in the court.
Okay. And is that would be the county court of Delhi?
It'd be the Supreme Court of Delaware County in Delhi. They've been sued, they got an attorney, they've answered. The next step in the whole litigation phase is to send written discovery demands to the attorney, which I did. He has not yet complied with those demands, answering those demands.
And Joe, I'm hearing that there's further desecration, but we're in a situation we can't send the highway department up just to clean up because it's under litigation?
No, the highway department can still go up.
They can still go up and...
They can't remove or touch any of the people's property, but
That's what I meant, I guess.
there's a certain portion of that cemetery that's not in dispute, that the highway department can go up and do whatever they think is proper on it.
I'm for Jamie doing that, whatever you think's proper, if that's allowed, because we got a letter from Mr. Jones, I think, complaining about.
I did see that email.
Yep.
I don't know that it's, well, I shouldn't say that.
Well, maybe
I don't know that it's further desecration, but
Yeah, maybe Jamie can go up and look at the property and say, okay, maybe we should do this and get together with you and make sure it's okay. I mean, I don't want to, we should.
if I get bit this time, I want to do
fence
something.
around it.
What?
If I get bit again, I want to.
Get it again.
There is fences around these, just.
We asked about the litigation processes, and there'll be a regular report on the town monthly meeting until it's resolved.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep coming, I'll keep telling you what's going on.
Thank you.
What, for a fence maybe?
Yeah, there's a cemetery not going to be put on.
Well, there is a survey, but we just have, that's what I'm shooting for, is to get that survey declared the boundary line.
All right, then once that's done, we can put it down, I think we shouldn't do that. Very good.
But there's been damage up there though, recently, you said?
Oh, well, we got an email from Mr. Jones,
Oh,
and he indicated that there's been more
okay.
additional problems.
And the police have been up there, but they didn't feel that they could do anything, that it was a civil matter, from what I understand.
Should we go up and take pictures and so we know if there's damage, we can say, well, it was like this before?
Well, the pictures have taken some pictures, but yeah, the more pictures, the better, sure.
Okay.
And like I say, there's certain areas that are not in dispute, and you can go ahead and fence those and beautify those, do whatever you think is proper. But don't take down their chicken coop or whatever.
Yeah, they're continuing to free graze the chickens and build additional chickens.
So you have to use judgment, but consult with him to make sure you don't do something else.
All right.
You don't want to get an notification and go get by doing. Anything else?
Have we heard anything from the police department concerning the investigation into the money that
I
disappeared?
talked to I don't think it, well, there's the guy right there.
We have no comment.
I talked to Mike personally, and they haven't made an official judgment with anything.
On what? On what?
On the larceny of the month. Someone asked if
If there's nothing else, I'm going to motion to adjourn.
We turned the
whatever again.
audit that Pete and I did over to Lisa.
I saw that, yeah.
She got that for a record.
Okay.
Audit.
Well, the other
What
thing-
did we do last month?
Okay, you want to do the budget now then?
Oh,
Yes, we have the budget.
Is there anybody that disagrees with anything that's in this budget?
Sure, that won't do me any good.
if we don't further comment,
You want it higher or lower?
Probably higher.
Well,
so I'll make a motion to pass the budget as is then, unless anybody has a...
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You know, to me, I think that raising it as high as you can now isn't gonna hurt you, because you don't know what's coming, really. And that you can give it back next year, but whatever. And we're in a lot better shape than the county. The county has this big mess, and then all of a sudden, they get a bill from social services, and they're just dead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? All opposed?
Congratulations, Lisa. Congratulations, Walt. Congratulations,
Thank you very
Gabby.
much. Yeah. Congratulations. All right, keep it up.